Miss Marvel. So to begin with, I wasn't really that interested in watching this TV series because I just felt like it was mainly targeting young girls and preteens, which, as you can no doubt tell, I'm neither of those things. And I was thinking to myself before watching it that it would actually set up what we're going to see in the sequel, The Marvels, next year. So with that being said, I thought to myself that yeah, I need to check this out. So Miss Marvel follows typical teenage girl Kamala, who is a huge superhero fan, her favourite being Captain Marvel. She is struggling to find her way in the world, both at home and at school. But until she discovers that she has her own superpowers, it opens a bigger story that even she couldn't have possibly imagined. So despite being set in the United States, a large portion of Miss Marvel focuses on another third world culture. Of course, like all origin superhero stories, it introduces the characters, it gives us the audience a lot more context, showing us what they can do, and then ending it where they'll go out and experience the whole bigger picture, which in this case is the Captain Marvel sequel and potentially future Avengers installments. But the series was a nice link of Pakistani American culture that does interlink the franchise even more. A particular sequence that springs to my mind is the superhero rescue sequence at an Eid celebration. I think Miss Marvel does really well in flipping that stereotype by allowing a third world culture to take central stage within an American TV show. And I thought the narrative was fun, but it did have some pacing issues in terms of, at least in my opinion, the stakes not quite being high enough, especially given the power that she has and the context of how she got those powers to begin with. And maybe that will come in the Captain Marvel sequel, but I think they are kind of maybe downplaying it to a certain extent, because essentially this series is for kids. And what I did appreciate about this was it was arguably the most visual MCU installment since WandaVision, because it was a nice blend between creating a comic book like feeling, because there were certain visual elements that were on the screen that enhanced the character of Kamala and her fascination with Captain Marvel, but equally it was a nice dazzling look for the community, and it was ultimately what inspired her to identify with who she really is. So it was a nice blend of those two things, and visually it was a real treat. And in the role of Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel, was Iman Vellani, who becomes the first teenage MCU superhero since Tom Holland as Spider-Man. And before anyone points out, I'm referring to the time when he was first appearing as the character in Captain America Civil War and Spider-Man Homecoming. And a lot of the time I do give youngsters the benefit of the doubt because they're under a lot of pressure very, very quickly. I said that about the young girl who played Princess Leia in the Obi-Wan series. But even as a youngster pushing 20, Iman Vellani's career is just getting started, and I thought she did a good job in this role. She showed that sense of leadership in the role, and I really liked her in action sequences. But the only thing I wasn't entirely convinced by was the fascination that she had for Captain Marvel. I know she put a costume on, but within her performance I couldn't entirely see it at times. But that being said, she still did a decent job, and maybe that will change when she actually comes face to face with Captain Marvel, which is no doubtedly going to happen in the sequel next year. There was a lot of backstory regarding Kamala's family history and its mystical connections to Captain Marvel, and it tried to be emotional, but there were times when it was a little bit thin, where it just wasn't quite there for me. And I wasn't really convinced by any of the villains, including Aisha or the DODC agents. But that being said, I just took a step back and just sat and appreciated that it was just fun and entertaining, and it was just introducing a new young character, and that maybe we haven't seen the best of this character just yet. So overall, Miss Marvel had its moments where I wasn't entirely sure and I wasn't convinced, but it was just still fun and entertaining to watch. And I never thought about it until Miss Marvel made me realise that I think sometimes with MCU installments it does kind of go one way or the other in terms of it being more Marvel or more Disney. And I felt like Miss Marvel went more on the Disney side than the Marvel side. In many ways it felt like a Disney animated classic, almost like the female version of Big Hero 6, but as a 4-hour miniseries rather than as a film. So it was the first time that the MCU had made a series or film primarily for kids, but I am still intrigued to see where this character goes next in the sequel and beyond that. So what do you think of Miss Marvel? Did you enjoy it? Did you find it a little too child friendly? Or are you a child watching this video and you found her a really interesting character? Are you looking forward to seeing her in the Captain Marvel sequel? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, if you did go on to enjoy this video, then please hit the like button and subscribe and have a notification bell ticked so you're notified when I upload a new video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care everybody.